Imagine a mushroom cloud rising over Warsaw, a sight that would send shockwaves not just through Poland but across the entire globe. Sirens wail as terrified civilians flee burning in an instant. The chaos and panic are palpable, with families torn apart and communities shattered. Russian tanks rumble across the Polish border while NATO jets engage in dogfights with Russian fighters, echoing with the sounds of war. This is not a scene from a dystopian film, but a terrifyingly plausible scenario, a war between Russia and Poland. The devastating warfare bringing untold destruction. The consequence two nations but for the entire world. The ripple effects of such a conflict would be felt far and wide, destabilizing regions and economies. The very foundations of global security crumble, potentially plunging us into a conflict more devastating than any we have ever known. International peace treaties would be rendered meaningless, and the delicate balance of power to conflict are almost impossible to comprehend fully. Refugee camps would overflow, struggling to provide for the displaced masses. Urban infrastructure, painstakingly built over years, would lie in ruins. Millions would be displaced, infrastructure decimated, and economies shattered. The social fabric of nature would take generations to heal. The risk would become a terrifying reality. The world would stand on the brink of annihilation, with global leaders locked in tense discussions, trying to avert disaster. The world watches with bated breath, hoping against hope that this nightmare scenario never comes to pass. Citizens around the globe would rally for peace, their voices in a chaotic world. To understand the gravity of a potential conflict between Russia and Poland, one must delve into the annals of their shared history. This history is not just a series of dates and events, but a complex tapestry woven with threads of conflict, cooperation, and cultural exchange. It is a history marked by invasion, occupation, and mistrust that has persisted for centuries. The scars of these events are still visible in the landscapes and the collective memory of both nations. From the partitions of Poland in the 18th century to the Soviet Union's domination during the Cold War, the relationship has been defined by power struggles and geopolitical maneuvering. Each era brought its own set of challenges and transformations, leaving an indelible mark on the psyche of both countries. The fall of the Iron Curtain offered a glimmer of hope. It was a moment that promised a new beginning, a chance to rebuild and redefine relationships on a foundation of mutual respect and cooperation. Poland embraced democracy and joined NATO in 1999, seeking security under the Western umbrella. This move was seen as a significant step towards ensuring its sovereignty and stability in a rapidly changing world. However, old wounds have not entirely healed. The memories of past conflicts and betrayals continue to influence the present, creating an undercurrent of tension that is hard to ignore. The ghosts of the past continue to haunt the present, casting a long shadow over any attempts at genuine reconciliation. Diplomatic efforts are often overshadowed by historical grievances, making it challenging to move forward and build a future free from the burdens of the past. In the current geopolitical climate, a conflict between Russia and Poland, while undesirable, is not entirely implausible. Several flashpoints could quickly escalate into open warfare. Border disputes fueled by nationalist sentiments on both sides could spiral out of control. Cyber attacks, a weapon of choice in modern warfare, could cripple critical infrastructure, leading to accusations, retaliations, and a dangerous cycle of escalation. Misinformation campaigns designed to sow discord and undermine stability could further inflame tensions, making diplomacy even more challenging. In the event of open hostilities, the initial response would be swift and decisive. The roar of artillery and the thunder of tanks would echo across the landscape, signaling the start of a fierce and relentless conflict. Polish forces, backed by NATO, would mobilize to defend their territory. Troops would be deployed to strategic locations, fortifying positions and preparing for the onslaught. Russia, with its formidable military might, would likely launch a multi-pronged offensive aiming to overwhelm Polish defenses and neutralize NATO reinforcements. The scale and coordination of the attack would be unprecedented, with air, land, and sea forces all engaged in a synchronized assault. The global community would be thrown into turmoil. News outlets around the world would broadcast the unfolding events, and financial markets would react with panic, leading to a significant economic downturn. Emergency sessions of the UN Security Council would be convened. Diplomats would work around the clock, trying to broker a ceasefire and prevent the conflict from escalating further. Condemnations would be issued, and frantic diplomatic efforts would be launched in a desperate bid to avert a wider conflagration. Leaders from across the globe would call for restraint and dialogue, hoping to de-escalate the situation. However, the world would find itself on the precipice of a new and terrifying chapter in human history. The human cost would be immense, with countless lives disrupted and entire communities displaced by the ravages of war.